This Fleet Equipment Unscripted interview is presented by Hendrickson, a leading manufacturer of heavy-duty suspension systems and components to the global commercial transportation industry. Visit hendrickson-intl.com to learn more.
Hey everyone, I'm Jason Morgan, Content Director for Fleet Equipment. Welcome to Fleet Equipment Unscripted. Today we're talking with Nathan Holt, Product Marketing Manager for XGuard. Nathan, thanks for taking the time. Great to see you.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Glad to be on.
So we're diving into truck safety issues today with XGuard, and it's interesting that time to have this conversation. We track truck service on the VMRS level on a quarterly basis, and we've seen a lot of increases in cab body, sheet metal service activity over the past couple quarters in the heavy-duty space. We're talking grille guards today, so even in that light, what do you expect the protection, pardon the pun, impact to be of grille guards for heavy-duty trucks to help reduce some of that service need?
So a grille guard, of course, is your front line of protection, as we're in the puns territory now. The grille guards are going to protect all of the critical front-end components. And just as you're saying, when you're looking at the VMRS codes, you of course, have seen the trends upwards in the pricing and the costing for everyone. And protecting those most vulnerable parts at the front, it's going to include your hood, your bumper, and of course your CMS radar, and right behind that you got your good old radiator. Protecting those components will make sure a truck can stay on the road, and also our full coverage guards protecting the headlights, make sure a truck stays serviceable at all times as well. So it's not just the immediate cost, but it's the cost of having a truck out of service that we'd like to prevent.
Right, and some of you mentioned there, so the grille guard, it's not getting in the way of the actual needed preventative maintenance, right? The regular service that's happening on a regular time, it's protecting and also still enabling that regular service not getting in the way there, right? Do I understand that correctly?
Absolutely. The fact that all of our guards can fold actually allows quick, easy, and seamless access to any of the truck components. You're able to open the hood to access everything. It takes just a moment to unlatch the guard, to fold that down. And it really is a complementary product to your point about any of the safety features or the technology. Our guards are actually what we call clear zone certified, and we do ensure they function completely and they do not interfere in any way with all the good collision mitigation system radars and cameras that are now being put on all the new trucks.
A great point there about the not interfering with the ADAS system. And you know what, interesting too on the ADAS, because then on the fleet side, well, why do I need a grille guard, right? I got this ADAS, it's gonna help prevent and mitigate some of those impacts. But what a lot of people forget is that those systems, they don't stop on everything, right? Vehicles, they'll stop. Depending on the system you have, it will have pedestrian detection, but deers, right? And we know that there are a lot of deer strikes in the heavy duty. It's not stopping for a deer. Air ADAS isn't going to stop for a deer, so still having that layer of protection helps a bunch.
Yeah, I think that word mitigation is the most important part. It's there to try to reduce the likelihood or to mitigate or reduce the actual cost of an impact or the points you'll impact on a vehicle if there is, of course, in the event that the system doesn't flag, which it will not for animals, then it ensures they're actually protected. So you're right, ADAS is very much understood, or I should say there's a bit of a misconception among some persons outside of the transportation industry and some within that an ADAS system is actually going to ensure you always stop or you always see things ahead of time. But nothing really has a continuous 360-degree view, including heat sensors of any and everything around it. And when you're traveling at speed, as many trucks are going to be at a highway speed, there's only so much really that can happen within a second. And ensuring that you have a protective system, make sure that if a collision is to occur, you're going to be protected in that. And of course, your truck will be too.
Right, for sure. Protecting the engine, the heart of the truck in a lot of ways. You've announced a number of new products here this year, too. One of the standout ones, a grille guard for the Freightliner Cascadia. As you brought that to market, what were some of those key design priorities, and how did inputs from the OEM and fleet customers shape that product?
Yeah, that was a really exciting one. That was a fun one to work on. And we worked directly with Daimler. They actually ran our guards on their testing trucks as they run. They have a route they run, a dedicated route, and they will do that when they're running both all the diagnostics and fuel testing. They'll always run one of their trucks beforehand, and they actually used one of our guards, and they had added a new sensor right under the headlight. So the headlight was already something we were always working around to ensure we didn't interfere with the spread angle of those lights. We weren't casting shadows. We wanted to ensure we kept it close to the vehicle and eliminated those. And of course, with headlights being such an expensive component, we always had to protect those. With this truck, and we found when working with the OEM, and of course with feedback from the fleets once they started to install them, we had to consider for the additional sensor they installed directly below the headlight. Mm-hmm. So in increasing the opening size and sweeping it back towards the vehicle, we were able to allow that to function, to allow it to not be interfered with, while still offering the maximum amount of protection for the full front of the truck that we could. So that was one of the biggest design challenges we encountered immediately. And we were able to, of course, overcome that with our fantastic engineering team, a lot of R&D, and we nailed it.
Yeah, very cool. And actually it relates to a conversation I had recently on the LED truck side, or truck light side. And you mentioned the spread, right? LEDs just becoming a standard feature on those new trucks, and much wider view of the lighting angle. That's really interesting. I never really considered that on that side too. One of the other things you touched on here that I know you've taken a close look at here in the past year or so is efficiency, right? Because you could have fleets that say, well, okay, guards are great, it's going to protect me, but hey, it's going to add weight. Does it take away from my fuel efficiency? I know that you've worked and done some work with MVT Solutions on that in that world. What are those fuel efficiency impacts of a guard?
Yeah, MVTS has been a fantastic partner. They're truly the leader in understanding the impacts of anything when it comes to fuel economy. And in testing with them, we tested our larger and our smaller guards in the XG series, which are the heavier of our two, made of the 8-gauge steel. And they found that the smaller guard had about 0.31% of a negative impact on fuel economy. And the largest one, which is giving you the complete front end protection, is going to only impact you a maximum of negative 0.41%. So taking that into account, it's just a few gallons of fuel you're going to be impacted every 10,000 miles. So for approximately $200 to $300, depending on your fuel cost fluctuations, which those are still happening, they're going to be completely protected from all the expensive and critical front-end components. So that's really a misconception when it comes to our products because of how well they've been designed and how well they actually fit the truck and will not interfere with the very aerodynamic designs that are being put into place and being utilized by most truck OEM manufacturers.
Yeah, very interesting on the fuel efficiency side, minimal input there. And also, like we talked earlier, the service considerations. You look at a truck as an asset where you have many cost factors going into it. If you're a fleet running certain routes and you have those service needs on that front end, being able to reduce those plays big into that TOC factor as well.
It's massive. It really is massive. And in fact, we've seen fleets report that they've had decreases of up to 97% when it comes to their front end replacement parts costs, and 80% in towable accidents. So anyone who has endured a wonderful, fun towable accident where your vehicle is rendered non-usable and it does have to be towed, being able to reduce that by 80% is an absolutely massive impact for a fleet and a real asset to them. So protecting their assets and making sure they're not putting their drivers at risk on the road has been a massive advantage, and that's why we see fleets continually switching over to the larger, the full protection to ensure the entire front end and their drivers are protected.
You know, we've touched a lot about on the truck side and the efficiency side and the service side, but what is that driver component? What do you hear? What's the driver's take on it, and what is the potential protection it offers the person inside the cab?
So there are a few different ways to look at it. And the immediate one, of course, is it stops an object from going underneath of the front tire, something that can cause potentially a rollover. I often heard a lot about wild hogs were often a problem, of course, in certain parts of the southern U.S. And one person told me early in my career here, he said, man, it'll flip a truck. And I hadn't actually thought about that. So it's in impacting a soft front end component actually going underneath the wheel can cause a vehicle to lose control. The same time, on the opposite side of that, an animal being flipped up can actually sometimes cause it to come back towards the cab of the truck. And that, of course, is a danger to the driver with them being right there at the front and having just glass in front of them to protect It prevents and protects a driver from immediate danger there. In addition to that, if a driver is not down in the middle of a dark road and having to, make sure they put out the safety cones and stuff, those are all great. But allowing a driver to get to his destination safely and on time is the best way to protect them. And that's always what we want our fleets to see, and we want their drivers and our owner operators to ensure they get every time.
Yeah, very good. Very good. Nathan, I appreciate you taking the time to walk me through all this info. I'm sure I'll talk to you again very soon.
Thank you so much for having me. Appreciate it.